Hello, hello, Amanda Fisher, the Cashflow Queen. And today I want to talk about planning the new financial year. And one of the key things that I do to plan out what I'm doing. So yes, it's all about the numbers, absolutely, and looking at goals, etc. But the one thing I focus on is I look at what was my expected and planned for and proposed profit for the 12 months a year ago when I started, and what was it when I ended. I'm specifically looking for why the end result wasn't what I planned, because it never is. Now, in my world, the reason that that happens is one of two things. First of all, I seem to subscribe to everything new in the technology space that comes out. I see some new bit of cool technology that will do a video or do a little cartoon or a more efficient way of doing something I already do, a new reporting tool, some new tool that will help me with the information going on my website to make sure the website's better. There's always something. And I sign up for it because it all looks good and wonderful. I think, oh, yes, I can use that. That would be awesome. And then I find that in some cases, still using them, in some cases not. So I have a good hard look at what have I signed up for. To be honest, I do this every few months and look at what am I paying on the subscriptions, particularly those monthly ones, or sometimes I get a little even more enthusiastic and sign up for 12 months in advance. What are the renewal dates for those? What dates are those coming due? So that if I'm not using them, I can cancel again. So I can make a note of that in the next coming up months. That's one area. It's not always a lot of money in that because I do clear it out quite regularly. But you know what? Where I spend my money? Training. I sign up for training left, right, and center. There's something new coming out. There's something I see and I think, oh, I'm going to do my online courses. I need to learn how to do online courses. I'm going to write another book. Kind of know about writing a book, but there's something else new about something that someone said about how to put a book together. I haven't signed up for those, to be honest, but you get the drift. There's something that is coming up in my world and I think this would be really good. So I sat down and went back through last year and looked at where the profit went. Where did I spend money that during the year that I wasn't planning to? And most of it, that's exactly where I found it. A few other little bits, but most of it, it's in what I call the discretionary expensing. Yeah, they're not all discretionary, but it's still discretionary. I didn't have to do it to earn my income per se, but having said that, for a lot of things, having done them, I'm better at doing what I do. I'm better at, my website's better, my promotion's better, all these things. And I sat down and looked at what was on my radar now for this next 12 months. And had a good hard think and a discussion with an accountability buddy and one of my business colleagues as well about pros and cons of a couple of them, and talk to my business manager as well about, well, what do you think? Should we do this? Should I do that? And the end result of it was that I've come to talking through and thinking through a couple of things. First of all, do I have the bandwidth in time to do what I need to do to get to learn, if it's a training thing, if it's an outside consultant, to support and provide information to that outside consultant so that we can get things done? How much time and energy of mine is going to be required? And how much bandwidth do I have? Right now, my bandwidth is pretty low. I'm working long hours already and there's not a lot of time. I don't have much thinking time and I'd really like to create some space for that. So that was one side of it. The other side of it then was looking at it very clinically about what's the return? Is there something that is going to give potentially an instant return in terms of revenue drive? Is it going to drive revenue directly? Or is it something that's more of a long burn, long tail type of revenue earning exercise? And I looked at that. And in one particular case, I looked at two and went, well, I could do this one or I could do that one, and then looked at pros and cons of one over the other. At the end of the day, I've made the decision I'm not doing either of those two. And I've made the decision that in looking at what I have in my pipeline at the moment, what my strategy is, where I'm going in terms of what services I'm offering over the next 12 months, and where I need to focus my energy. And this is partly, based on what's going on with some clients as well, and their requirements for me that have increased quite exponentially. And, it means I've got very limited time for learning. I've got limited time for thinking. I have limited time for, doing any more training. And so I've come to the conclusion that the combination of how much money is it going to cost? What else could I spend that money on? And in one case, it was to do with some promotional things. Money spent on an outside consultant to help with some promotions. And I sat down and thought, you know what? If we spent it, even 25% of that playing around, getting Facebook ads to work or getting some promotions to work, and spent the other 75% in a marketing funnel that we know is working, that would be much more, a much higher rate return for my buck, and potentially less input from me. Definitely in that particular case, less input from me to do that, because my team can help with a lot of the back end of the marketing side. So easy decision. Well, not easy decision. I still suffer badly from FOMO. Definite bad case of FOMO-itis, always, which is why I managed to get sucked in so many times. However, this year, and I said it last year and I didn't do it, but this year I'm going to be much stronger about it. I need to be, because I have so much I have already bought that I need to go through the training that I've got. I've got so many things already on the boil that doing one more thing isn't necessarily going to make the difference. And I think one of my colleagues summed it up so well when he said that it's when we're busy, we think that we need to do more or get external consultants or, learn something new in order to expedite the success, the results. When in reality, all that's doing is giving us more work to do. And we already have a lot of the answers already. We already have the knowledge in what has been learned. And I've been training for many years now, so it's not like I'm new to this world. If you are new, definitely you need to find some good basic training to get you up and running and a few other bits and pieces. But when you've been training like I have for probably the last 10 years, really don't need to know a lot more. It's more about getting things happening. So have a look at your expenses from last year, particularly those that you spent that you didn't plan to spend. Hopefully you did have a budget last year. If you didn't, create a budget for this year, look at what you did spend last year and work out what maybe you can look at whether you really need it. What's the return on the investment? Is there an alternative way, use for that money that would give you a better result? And or is that some money you can save? Because it is now a bit of a time of looking at, making sure you've got some cash, a stash of cash, as I like to call it, sitting in a bank account for those days when times are a little tougher. My ponderings for Wednesday morning and the result of the last week of my reviewing my budget and thinking about how I'm going to move forward with the next 12 months and setting realistic goals for that next 12 months. As always, whatever you do, make your numbers count.